All right, so welcome back. I can't I can't lie to you. It's good to be back at work. It's good to be around people again. It's great to see our rookies here and working. And I want to assure all of you um, that one, we're going to make sure all of you get taken care of. I think you know how we do business. I don't want any apprehension on any of your part to think that we're not going to still try to do business as usual when it comes to dealing with the media. I understand. Frank understands, and Matt and his team, and Steve Campbell, all of them. We understand you have a job to do, and we want to allow you to do your job, and continue to do that job at a high level. So, any questions that come up, anything that you think we need to rehash or rethink, just let us know. All right, so it's going to be a very interesting year, without question. And I want to go through kind of our plan that has been put together, and it's taken a complete team effort. I'm very proud of this organization, and what they've been able to do and accomplish to do everything in our power to keep our players, our staff, and everybody safe, and also our players' family and our staff's family. It's all important to us. And so we want to we want to do everything we can do to mitigate risk. So the NFL and the NFLPA came up with the protocols, and it is a lot of information. And all these protocols are put in place for safety reasons, and to do everything we can to keep our building clean and safe. So when people come into work, they don't have to worry about somebody being infected with the coronavirus. So we've mandated an infectious control officer. And that is Dave Hammer. And Dave Hammer will still be doing some thing on the training room side, but his primary responsibility this season is going to be as the infectious control officer. And I can't say enough good things about what Dave has done leading the charge and everything that we have to get done here. He has been, Dave is thorough. He's always trying to think of better ways to do things. And he's put together a strong team that's going to help us be the best that we can be in this area and keep our players, healthy and safe. But his job is going to be to carry out the protocols. He's put together an infectious response team, an infectious disease emergency response, all the protocols, everything that we're doing in the building, from screening stations to making sure we have social distancing in the cafe, in the locker room, in the break rooms and meeting rooms. He's made all the hallways one way, marked where we don't get big groups of people walking in opposite directions, and from placing dividers on each and every locker in the locker room. I think you'll see when you interview players, just a ton of protocols that he's done. He's gone above and beyond. And I'd be remiss by not thanking a lot of people that have put a lot of time into this with Dave. First Mr. Irsay, who has, generously, whatever it took, and whatever we needed, he allowed us to move forward to make sure that we're doing everything, the right way. To our doctors, Dr. Alvey and Dr. Robertson, who's been, heavily involved, Tom Kloick, Jeff Brown, all our equipment staff, Sean Sullivan, everything that, they've had to do to help get ready. Matt Boothby and Brian Poole, what they've done on the IT side and dealing with the contact tracing. Kyle Davis, who's also, one of our trainers is kind of taking the charge too with the contact tracing. John Park, who's also doing this contact tracing is a very important part of this. Everybody in the organization that's had a hand in this. I mean, everybody's got a role, from everybody that's cleaning, all our maintenance staff, the extra people that we have hired to make sure that we keep everything clean, all high touch areas, that we're constantly cleaning, and making sure that we're keeping it safe. It's been a real team effort, and it's a credit to the people we have in this organization. I'm proud of them. And I've always said that everybody impacts winning that's in this building. And it's never going to be more evident than this year, because everybody plays a big role in this. So I'm very proud of that. You have no idea what, the past 2 months have been like, trying to navigate everything that needed to be done to our building, from moving meeting rooms to make sure we're social distance, to moving the weight room, to make sure we had enough space, to make sure we're able to meet with social distancing, at the forefront because of contact tracing. I mean, all of that has come into play. And when you look at this, like there's 4 things to me that, are going to be critical. One is testing. It's not everything, but it's important. The second is contact tracing, making sure if somebody gets sick, we know who they've been in contact with long periods of time. Social distancing, and then sanitizing, and wearing a mask. All of these things we are doing, and we're going to do them at a high level. And, there's some just simple, basic things that we can do. And one is wearing a mask. I don't understand why that is such a controversy in our country right now. Put a damn mask on. Why is that so hard? It's not about you. It's about everybody else. And, and we will do that within the building. Now practice will be, different, but they've got some ways to handle that. But saying that, we're going to do everything we can to try to be the best that we can be in this area. Now, saying that, we're going to expect bumps along the road. This is unknown. We're in unknown territory. Each and every day is a new day. Every day is going to be, we're going to learn something new each and every day, and we're going to have to adjust on the fly, because if you don't, then you could have problems. So we've got to be pretty nimble on our feet, and also nimble mentally to be able to see and adjust to anything that happens. But saying that, we feel good about where we're at. We feel good about where we're going, and we'll get ready to start training and get a football team ready to play, and one that we think's got a chance to do some really good things. All right, I will let y'all fire away with questions.
All right, Charlie Clifford, you're up.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Chris. First off, appreciate Matt and his whole team and your whole team helping us out here over the next couple months. And I know it's going to be interesting. As we look ahead to football, do you envision more inter-squad scrimmages? How do you get the team ready for the 13th?
Good question. We're finalizing our final, plan here. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have, we've always been a pretty, we had some pretty lively sessions anyways. But we'll probably have 2 or 3 occasions when we really get after it. We got to play. And we got to get our team ready for the season. So you're going to see some more physical practices in spurts, just so we can get ourselves ready to go and to be able to evaluate. You got to evaluate the game and our players going full speed. So yes, we will have a few more of those.
All right, Kevin Bowen.
Hey, Kev.
Hey, Chris. Thank you for the time. Any players told you that they're opting out yet? What have those conversations been like? Do you expect any to opt out?
I don't know. I can't, none at this point. And I've not had any discussions with any players about it. We had a big meeting last night where we went through everything that we're doing. You know, what the risks are and how what we're doing to mitigate the risk. But at this point, none. But you know, as soon as we know something, if some decide to opt out, we will definitely let y'all know.
All right, Zach Kiefer.
Hey,
Hey,
Zach.
Chris. So you're not in a bubble, and you guys can do everything you can at the facility, and I get that, and that's really smart, but these guys are going to go home. And my question to you is, what is your level of trust in 60, 65, 80 guys to start? I mean, a lot of this is going to be on the players, right? And have you guys discussed that? And what is your level of hope in the fact that these guys are not going to do things that put themselves at risk and therefore put the team at risk?
That's a really good question. And it's one at the forefront of our building. Look, there's going to be sacrifices that are going to have to be made by all of us. Everybody that's in the building right now, that's with a tier, players, coaches, staff, we're all going to have to make sacrifices. And it's the ultimate, it's just like the ultimate test of discipline, right now. Can you sustain it for a long time? I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, I've already cut off for the season any visitors coming to town, and always got visitors coming in every weekend, but that's just not the world we're living in right now. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to celebrate every Sunday together with family and friends that I'm used to have coming up for games. So there's going to be sacrifices that each one of us are going to have to be made. And I'll talk to the team, and I've already talked to them about it, but there's going to have to be that peer pressure from within the locker room to know that if you do something, outside of this building, that puts the team at risk, that's a selfish move. Now we have protocols in place to hopefully catch it from testing, from the daily questions and temperature checks and all the other stuff we're doing to catch it before it gets in the building. But no, look, it's the ultimate test of discipline that this league's going to go through. And look, like one of the really cool things that's going on right now in the NFL is like, we're talking to each other, trying to help each other figure this out. And I know Frank's had a lot of communication with other head coaches in the league. I've had communication with a lot of GMs in the league and coaches, just what are you doing? What can we do better? That's really cool. I mean, that's the, I think we all want to make this a go and make this work. I mean, because everybody's saying we can't do it. I mean, there ain't nothing better than proving people wrong that we can do it, and we can do it safely. So I think you're seeing a league come together and try to do the right thing and help each other. I mean, because you don't want to see you don't want to see the competitive advantages come into play here. I mean, when we win, we want to win, and you don't want an asterisk next to the win. Are there going to be times when things happen? Absolutely. I mean, this is a contagious disease. So there's going to be circumstances that on certain Sundays where you're going to be missing some guys, but we just move forward and we do everything we can to mitigate the risk and keep everybody safe.
All right, Mike Chappell.
Hey, Mike.
Chris, how you doing? A couple of things, just operationally. Will you stick with the 90-man roster until whatever the date is? Is it August 16th or whatever it is?
It's the 16th. We're going to stick with it for right now, and then make a determination of when. They give you the option of being able to make the determination to go down to 80. So right now we've just, we've got, rookies, injured players, and quarterbacks in. So we're operating out of the 90. We'll make that decision here in the next, 5 to 10 days.
Also, with you like a lot of teams, you're always looking for players. Are you allowed to bring in free agents now, or is that not
No.
allowed?
No, we cannot work guys out. We can bring players in with the intent to sign them, but we cannot work players out right now. And I don't know when free agent tryouts are going to start. They haven't given us that.
One last question, then I'll quit hogging. You're allowed, I think, 2 workouts at the stadium for fans. Is that a risk you're not going to take?
Yeah, we're having some internal discussions about that, but my point was, I think it's depending on what's going on in the city, where we at, what kind of restrictions do we have, what's their recommendation. The last thing I want, and organizationally, the last thing we want is to put anybody in harm's way. Don't want to do that, and we won't do that. So we'll make that decision when we finally nail down the dates and see what's going on, here around the city. I mean, this is going to be a fluid. This is going to be very fluid throughout the season, and we're learning. Like this month's important because we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn the do's and the don'ts, and what do we need to adjust. What are the things we have to change. So day to day, we're going to learn. So, I mean, we're already in the first few days of being here, we've learned things that are going to help us going forward. And I think that's going to be the case. I mean, we're in uncharted territory here.
All right, Joel Erickson.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, Chris. The effect on the salary cap in 2021, with it potentially going down a little bit, you guys obviously have a lot of flexibility, but has that changed the way you would operate during the summer normally in terms of extensions or trying to be prudent, making sure you preserve that kind of flexibility?
Yeah, you just wanted to, we needed some clarity on where we're going. Now we got a little more clarity, and we're currently working on a plan of, how we want to move forward. And look, I mean, I've always been one that, you want to try to lock up your own players early. And keep them in the, get them locked up. But with so much uncertainty out there, we didn't know, what the next 2 or 3 years was going to look like. And you can't, I mean, you got to project out here when you're building your roster and extending players. Now that we have a little more clarity, we'll see. We'll have some lines in the water and see what happens.
All right, Stephen Holder.
Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm
You
good.
okay?
Yeah, I got you.
I know you're a baseball guy. You saw, I imagine, what happened with the Marlins this week.
Mhm.
And I know we don't know how it happened necessarily, but just what was your general reaction to that? And do you think, how likely do you think you guys can avoid a similar fate in your sport?
Well, I mean, I wish I had more details on the Marlins and what happened. It's a shame. But, it's something they built a 30-man taxi squad for those reasons. And I think that's why you'll see eventually with our practice squad being bigger this year, it's going to give us a chance. That's, a chance to have players that are available. But no, we just, that's where just not knowing the specifics of why it happened, but it also shows, that it is contagious, and we've got to take every step we can when players enter the building that, we know that they're safe and they're healthy and they're not, carrying this.
Okay, Jim Aiello.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking some time. Just curious about scouts and sending guys out during the year to colleges and visits and things like that. I mean, have the NFL given you guys any direction as to what that will look like and how you'll also handle that?
No direction. We'll be careful. I'm not going to put a guy on the road if I think he's going to be put in harm's way. Won't do that. Won't do that to him or his family. There's enough to do. There's enough tape to watch. We've already got, Ed and Kevin and John Shaw and all our group, Morocco, we'll have them all. We'll have projects for each one of them to do. We've got them grinding right now on a lot of pro tape and teams because we're not going to get preseason games in. And then, the uncertainty with college football right now, we just don't know. But we can get our job. I mean, I'll tell you this, scouts now become more important because the evaluation, I mean, let's say the disaster happens and we're evaluating off last year's tape. It's going to take real work and real skill to get that done. And this is where your connections as a scout become very important, because if you can't get on the road, you've got to have enough connections where you're able to pick up the phone and really dig and call. And people got to trust you to really give you the accurate information. But we'll be careful. We'll be smart about it, knowing that the draft is still a ways away. We'll tackle that problem. And when the league finally gives us protocols about what we need to do, we'll take a look at them and figure out how we want to handle it.
Bob Kravitz.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Chris. How you doing? Excuse my dog in the background.
That's all right.
With no preseason games, how does that alter your ability to reach conclusions on players, and how will it impact those undrafted free agents who the last, I think, 21 years you've had at least one make the squad?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to be a challenge. We're going to have to set up competitive situations in training camp to be able to really evaluate the player best we can. The 16-man practice squad that we're talking about having is going to help because it's, I'd be surprised if you see as many claims as you did in the past. But we've got to set up, competitive situations. And I hear the talk about the rookies and then all the missed extra reps the rookies have had. And yeah, it's going to impact them. But look, all 32 teams are dealing with the same, or 31 other teams are dealing with the same things that we're dealing with. And every rookie is dealing with this. Cream will, if they're talented, like we think they are, and even the undrafted free agents, they'll show. We'll give them a chance to show where they got a chance to, if we think they can play a role and help us, they'll make the team. I mean, I always think back to Darius. If you recall, Darius didn't practice a snap in OTAs, none, zero. And all he did was go out and be defensive player, rookie of the year. They're good players. They've been playing this game a while now. I mean, this ain't, we're not talking about the first time they're ever, putting on a uniform and touching a football. These guys have played football. And I actually think for rookies, because they wear down. I mean, if you think about it, they go through their whole season. A lot of them play bowl games. Then they go into pure training mode for the combine. They go to the combine. Then they have pro days, a ton of visits. Then they end up they get drafted or as an undrafted free agent by a team. They go all of May, all of June. They really get about a 3-week break, a 4-week break, and then they're kicking up camp. It is a grind for a rookie. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they haven't been through that same grind that they have, in the past. So it'll be interesting to see physically. All the rookies that showed up are on really good physical shape. Rusty Jones and his staff did a tremendous job making sure these guys, were working and doing what they needed to do. And we put a big emphasis on that this offseason. And our rookies, they came in really good shape and ready to go. I know that kind of went in about 5 different ways, Bob, but I hope I answered it.
All right, Dave Griffiths.
Hey, Chris, I wanted to follow up on your comments saying this month is important. You're already learning some things right now about what to do. But without any preseason games, you don't get the trial run to go on the road. I'm sure that would have been valuable, but do you think you can be ready for week 1 and without having that type of trial run, as you will have, I guess, more trial runs for practice and other experiences?
Well, college football does it every year. They don't have any preseason games. Most of our team, they understand what a road trip looks like. We'll have to train our rookies, and we'll find a way to do that. But the majority of this team has traveled. They understand the expectations. When we get on the plane to travel, there's going to be some more restrictions in the hotels to keep ourselves safe, which will definitely, our staff will do a tremendous job. Jeff Brown, who is great at his job, he'll find a way to make sure we get these guys trained and they understand. College football does it every year. They line up and play, and I'm talking big games. I mean, they line up and play good teams and big games, and that's what we'll do, and that's what other 31 teams in the league will do.
Okay, Mike Wells.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thanks for the time. Starting with Frank, what have you learned about your coaching staff and players going back when essentially everything got shut down and moved to the virtual side, and what gives you, optimism that you guys can, compete this year, as long as you stay healthy, obviously.
Well, look, Frank's a lot like I am, where that's why there's no panic. I mean, there's no panic in him. And when your leader doesn't panic, everybody else feels a sense of calm. So that's one. There's never an excuse. Like, I think both of us are really good at this, but Frank especially, like, he never makes an excuse. Like, just, whoever we got, let's go. It's our job to find a way to win. And I'll tell you, one of the really cool things this off season, because we taped all our Zoom meetings with our players. And I watched, I'd tell you practically all of them. And I watched all of our coaches teach. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what coaches are. They're teachers. They're great teachers. And it was great to watch each one of them really find ways to teach material. They were all creative. That was a beautiful thing to watch, man. I mean, and none of them flinched. None of them, I don't hear any, I think they know being around here, no bitching, no complaining. I mean, just let's no bitching, let's find answers. And it was fun to watch them find answers and ways to reach and teach kids at every level. Every level of the organization was able to do that on our side, on the football side, from Rusty and Rich being able to show the workouts that needed to be done, from our nutritionist Kirsten, she's freaking outstanding. The work that she's done nutritionally, we've got spend a little more time with them, making sure they understood what needed to be done, nutritionally what needed to be done. She's created, she got us into an app. I'll tell you how we're doing our meals. I mean, we have an app, and you have to get on it, and you have to order each day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it comes in a bag. And I think y'all know, nutritionally, I mean, that's a big part of our program, what they're putting in their body. So she has been, phenomenal over Zoom calls and really, really connecting with our players and getting them to buy in. So no, I think that comes directly from Frank's leadership. I mean, Frank, he's not going to flinch now. No matter what, you're going to always have during a season obstacle. It's going to happen, every team. And how you deal with those is usually how you end up at the end of the season.
All right, George Bremer.
Hey, George.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir.
Building off sort of that last question a little bit, obviously the last couple of years there have been unexpected challenges for this team. Everybody has them, but for the guys that have been through that, is it an advantage this year in a way? Is it a blessing in disguise in some ways?
I mean, there's not knock on wood. I mean, we've seen a lot, and we've had to handle a lot. Teams had to handle a lot. So I do think when you show people when there's a problem, when there's something bad happens, that you're not going to flinch and you're not going to cave to the pressure of the situation, I do think it helps. And I think it's going to help our team. I mean, I think people forget how young our team still is, but it's a young team with experience. And they've been through a ton, from 1-5 to coming back and ripping off games in a row, winning a playoff game in Houston, to starting last season with Super Bowl expectations, and, Andrew retiring, the 5-2 start, and then the dip. That was a young football team that got a lot of experience handling a lot of difficult situations, and that's gonna help us. I truly believe that. That's gonna be beneficial to us.
Greg Doyle.
Hey, Greg.
Greg, you got to unmute there.
You got to mute. There you go.
Had to be one of us going to do that. What a shock it was me. So why did you pick Dave Hammer to be your infectious expert?
All right. That's a good question. One, experience. Been in this league, a long time, over 20 years. And from an administrative standpoint, I don't think I've ever been around anybody as good. And we knew he would have the vision to put all this stuff together and make sure it gets, done and everything, every I dotted and T crossed, because he's meticulous with everything that he does. So we thought he was the perfect person, for this role. And look, I mean, it is a lot. I mean, there's a ton on Dave Hammer. I mean, I got to remind him, hey, look, you got to sleep. You got to take some time for yourself. But we couldn't have a better person in this role.
All right. Stacey Dales, you want to hop in?
Hey, Stacey.
Chris, great to see you.
Same here.
Two questions. I had one to begin with. My first was, what have you learned about Phillip Rivers this offseason?
Okay, go ahead. That's easy.
The second is, why did you want to watch every single Zoom and how many were there?
All right, Phillip, easy. Loves football. Wants to win. Tremendous internal drive. To be a great teammate, to win, to be the best he can be. He's had to buy in some things that we do here, nutritionally and workout wise, that he's never had to experience before. So it's different for him, but he bought into it. And then his love for the game and football and his teammates, I think they're going to feel it even more now that he's here in the building. And then as for what was your next question?
Why did you decide to watch every Zoom?
Zoom meeting.
Every single
Okay.
meeting. How many were there?
I don't know. I mean, how many times did we meet? I mean, look, it was a way, number one, it's a way for me to learn, okay? Really learn what we're doing offensively and defensively, just the little things that, and I know, but there's changes every year. So being able to watch those and see the changes of what they're going to ask our players to do, is important from a scouting standpoint. And then from a just a teacher standpoint, what guys are dialed in, how do our guys teach, what's the different, everybody's got a different teaching style and a different learning style. So to really be able to watch those, it was invaluable. It really was. It was invaluable. And I learned a lot, watching those meetings. And we'd attend some live, but, we taped every one of them. And I think it's good.
All right, we're going to finish up with two more here. Kevin Bowen.
Chris, as you look at your roster, most intriguing positions that stand out to you, some battles you're looking forward to watch?
Well, I'm just sitting here peeking. I think the linebacker position's one that I think we got a lot of talent. Be fun to watch those guys battle for the roster. I think we got, three tremendous linebackers and, Darius Walker and Okereke. I think we can compare them to anybody in the league. And they're all young and athletic, fast, everything we want. But then, behind us, not like it's chopped liver either. We think speed's got, a lot of upside. You've got Matt Adams and Zaire, who are both mainstays, and both have played for us and been great on teams. And then you got Glasgow added, that we think's got, a really good fit. So that's going to be fun to watch. There's no question that, on the D line, I'm driven by it. We know we got to be great there. So I'm looking at, what the addition of Buckner, how it's really going to impact everybody else. And I think it's going to have a big impact. And I think he's a pretty special player, but also a special person. And he's going to be a great addition. It'd be fun to watch that. And then, of course, the kicking battle. We're going to have to find ways to make sure that we create enough competition and pressure situations for both McLaughlin and Blankenship. And Frank and staff have a plan for it. But that's going to be an interesting one to watch.
All right, and then last question, Taylor Tannenbaum.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Taylor.
Hey, it's kind of a follow-up to earlier when I know you mentioned that you haven't had any discussions with anyone about opting out of the season, but have guys come to you with concerns and reservations just man to man, or are really worried about the season that lies ahead? Maybe not opting out, but just really weighing their options here.
So last night we had a big call where Dave Hammer went through everything that we're doing, and then league protocols, and things that, I mean, it was down and dirty and every aspect of what they're doing. And on the call, there's a bunch of questions. Of course, guys, it's unknown. They're going into the unknown. So there's definitely questions that came up. And look, with our team, the one thing that's pretty neat is they're not scared to ask questions in the front of a group. And we made sure they understood that, look, if you still have questions, let us know. I mean, we're here to make sure you stay safe. I think when they get in the building, they'll see everything we're doing. They tested the other day, but they still haven't been in the building. So I think once they get in and they see all the work we're doing, I think they'll get more comfortable.